As a motorsports reporter and being born and raised in Indianapolis, racing has always been in my blood.
I'm a professional racer and car builder, and I've done quite a few car transformations over the years.
And with our experiences and friends in the automotive industry, Collete and I have teamed up to combine our love for cars with our desire to make a difference.
Helping Hands Garage is all about giving back to deserving families who have a project that's seen better days. Yeah, good job!
So join us as we roll up our sleeves and drive dreams forward at Helping Hands Garage. As we know, cars have a way of bringing families together, but it can also be a reminder of those that we've lost. Today on Helping Hands Garage, we learn the story of Carissa Grow, who recently and suddenly lost her father to a heart attack.
Now, this loss came shortly after her sister Amy passed away a few months prior. While grieving both family members, Carissa now finds herself responsible for her father's cherished car collection and all the memories they shared. Dave was not just a car enthusiast. He was a loving father and grandfather who shared his passion with his family. Carissa is unsure of where to begin with her dad's collection, so she reached out for some help.
Carissa knows there are a few cars that can't leave the collection, and that means they'll most likely go to the family. We've got our hands on the 68 C10, and we're making sure it's reliable enough for the grandkids to drive and enjoy down the road. Dave not only left a collection of vehicles, he also left a legacy of love, knowledge, and shared experiences. So Collete, before we get to the truck, let's go ahead and meet Carissa and hear about some of those memories of her father. It's safe to say that one word that summarizes Carissa and Stephen is strength. And we are so glad to have you here honoring your dad, honoring your sister, your family as a whole. So thank you for joining us on Helping Hands Garage.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
To kick things off, we have seen the C10 in the shop. We behind us have a photo display of your dad and all the cars. How do you summarize his life with the car world?
Oh, passion. He just loved cars with every fiber of his being. I mean, he talked about cars. He sat up at night and looked at cars for sale and often bought them. First on the list of the dealership, just loved all the technology and all the tools.
Well, there's a blood relative here. Now you're the partner in all of this. This has been a journey from start to finish, I'm sure. But just taking us through this last, say, 2 years, help us better understand kind of what the family's been through.
A lot. He was always there, always helping. You know, I would do my best, but water shut off in the middle of the night. You know, we would call him and come over and help us out, or whatever needed help on the cars, he would come over and help us out.
Every Tuesday, he would have my older girls particularly over, and they would do some sort of project. I mean, welding. They made my girls.
I love that.
Well, taught them how to spray paint because there's something to it. You don't just
there's a science, there's an artistry to it.
You don't want to have drips and runs, and he was teaching about all those sorts of things, how to cut wood. They made fires out of a log one time.
If you could summarize what it would mean to you to have this car back on the road and safely for the grandkids of Dave's.
I mean, it would just be so great to have them be able to go out and represent Dad. And for them to be able to actually drive the car and have it be around and show it off would be so much fun.
Of course, the heartbreak and what your family has endured, and again, the strength that you two have had to keep everyone together, keep everyone moving forward and on the road. I know that we've talked a little about the cars that your dad has had and the passion that he has shared and how it's poured into your world. There have been a few cars that he would not let get away, and thus now the family is not going to let get away. What are those?
Oh, obviously the 68, because it's Dave's garage. It's just so representative of Dad. And then there's the 72 Blazer, which my girls particularly have amazing memories of him in paw days. He actually had the seat upholstered into like this houndstooth. And he bought matching hats for the girls and for him and for Gloria. So when they would go out for lunch or for whatever, they would all go cruising.
That summarizes Dave, and I love that for the sake of him and his car world. That is too cool. Now, Dave had some stellar cars in his collection, but the two that he was really fond of was a 72 C5 Blazer and a 68 C10, this one. One bummer is that Dave didn't get a chance to see the custom paint on the side. That would have been really neat to have that come to life for him.
And that's something he was really, really excited about, the custom Dave's Garage hand painting on the side and the pinstriping. But Dave did get a lot of work done on this. He was able to completely overhaul the suspension, the brakes. He got the interior looking beautiful. Even under the hood here, he completely rebuilt the carb. He got a lot of the hard work done for us. So we're really gonna be focusing on a few things, two of them being the electrical and cooling components. So of course, while we're in the engine bay, we wanna dress it up a little bit, make it look nice, getting some new valve covers on there, and we're even gonna take the headers off, paint them, and put them back on.
We're gonna get this thing up on the lift as well and check out the exhaust and see if there's any leaking, because we do know something like a 68, there could be a few leaks here and there.
So this is Helping Hands Garage, which means we don't have to do this alone. So I wanted to introduce you to Carrie, one of Dave's car buddies. Thank you for being here with us.
I'm happy to be here.
Now, you actually got to work on this C10 with Dave and a bunch of his other cars, right?
Yeah, I think he bought this probably last year. He usually buys vehicles on a whim. He spends a lot of time on Facebook Marketplace, and
as every car person does,
yeah,
you know.
And then, up late night, and then he gives me a call. Hey, Carrie, I think we need to go and pick this vehicle up.
At first, we're going to be focusing in the engine bay. We got a lot of work cut out for us.
Yes,
I know you're aware of some of the current electrical issues, right?
Yeah, the electrical fan kind of stays on after you turn the ignition, and it just stays on forever. So eventually the battery drains.
We're definitely going to be addressing that and maybe clean up the wiring everywhere. We actually have a brand new set of fans and new radiator that we're just going to completely replace all of this, upgrade it, and then clean up the bay while we're at it. Oh, look, in case you're missing a razor blade, it's just there for storage whenever you need one. We're back with our helping hands, and in front of us are our brand new parts from LMC Truck. We got our old radiator out of there, and we have our brand new aluminum run right in front of us, and we're going to be pairing this with our dual 13-inch electric fan. What is great about this shroud is that it comes with these flaps that actually open at highway speed to allow more cooling, and then they'll close at the lower speeds as well. This kit comes with every single thing that we need. We got nice new shiny brackets, insulators, and even a full wiring kit. No overly complicated or custom install. Should be pretty easy for us.
Okay, we can do it.
Before we put our new mounts in here, just gonna hit it with some rust barrier, and then we should be good to go.
Collete and the Helping Hands team are working on getting the new radiator and electric fans in place. After the break, they'll get the new fans wired up correctly, and that problem should be fixed. Welcome back to Helping Hands Garage. Now, of course, part of this process with the C10 is getting to know the Grow family. And in this corner of the garage was a little play date going on. This was a lot of fun to see that all of them and their hands are getting dirty over here. Why is this so important to have fun with the family in this whole process?
Just to spend quality time with each other and just get to know one another better and working.
I love that. And for you, of course, this is you're no stranger to cars. Your whole family is no stranger to cars. Some of those moments that you can think back and why it's so fun to be with the family now, kind of looking back to all those moments you had with cars growing up with your pa.
Sometimes he bought new cars and we would just...
Sometimes? It seemed like there was lots of cars together.
Yes, yes. And he would just introduce us to cars.
Chris and I was having the conversation about welding and what's going on there. What else did he teach you?
Well, he taught us how to spray paint.
Okay, good, because we have a little of that going on.
Yes, he taught us a technique on you gotta practice first with not spraying it, and then you gotta pause after each stroke, and so it's like a light and then stop, and light and then stop.
You guys know a few things here. And did I hear you like a Corvette because it goes fast? So you have the need for speed as well, huh? Yeah, look at those eyes.
Holding it in where it's...
All right, I I can see that our engine bay makeover has officially begun. You ladies already took care of our old manifold on there, got it prepped and painted, and now it looks so much better. You know, whenever we do that, we definitely always use high temp paint so that it doesn't flake when it actually gets up to temp. But you ladies got that looking great. And we're not stopping there. We got our new aluminum valve covers from LMC Truck. We're gonna throw these on now. Sound good?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Ladies, very nice. And guys, good job.
Where's my high five?
There's been a whole lot of helping hands underneath the hood of this C10. Obviously, Don and Greg have been two pivotal people here. It's true, without the extra hands. And of course, we're talking about the radiator that's been in, it's been out. There's some fine-tuning adjustments,
Adjustments,
Greg.
yeah. Adjustments to it.
And the valve covers, Don, that's another thing that's been taken care of.
They're all in, they're done. The manifolds have been spray painted. They look great.
The manifolds do that cast iron color.
Yeah, it looks really, really good.
Really, really nice. Now, I think diving into the fact that you guys both showed up here at our shop, very different worlds. First and foremost, you guys shook hands for the first time today.
Right.
And now y'all are helping hands.
Yeah. But we knew the pivotal person in all of this. Probably the best way to describe Dave is he never met a stranger. If he went into a room and he didn't know you, he would know you when he left. And he wouldn't know just your name, he'd know everything about you, your kids. He'd especially know what kind of car you drove.
Yeah, well, of course.
And so there you are.
He was a stranger not too long ago to Dave.
Right.
And here you are working on his truck for him in honor of him.
Right.
Why? What's the significance of that?
I've been into cars all my life, and it's not really the car itself, it was the man that I met.
Yeah.
And I'm just so fortunate to have known him in my life.
Yeah.
He was that kind of person, and he was so personable. We cut up and laughed. It's like we got along, even though we didn't know each other very long.
Yeah.
But it's like we knew each other for 50 years. But you guys are doing a great thing, because I know he's got to be looking down, loving what you guys are doing.
Well, of course, there's tricks here and there when you are owning a car. And one of those tricks that you guys have learned with this C10 is what?
You want to tell who?
Yeah, well, 3 in a tree, they can be challenging for anyone, even when they work right. But so the linkages for the shifter, they move around like crazy. The bushings are terribly worn, so it's really hard to find the gears, and at times it'll get locked up and jammed, and then you're stuck either in a gear or you can't get it into gear.
So we keep this under the front seat. And this is basically how we shove this in here, and we try to keep this from we gotta try to keep the jam
Just
from
do a little jiggle,
just a little
jiggle
jiggle and
Yeah.
try to get it, from getting stuck.
So, Carrie, at this point in time, what are you guys going to do to really fix the big problem here?
Yeah, so the main thing there's like rubber, nylon, or urethane bushings on there, so those just need to be changed out so you don't have that play anymore.
So, of course, we want to make sure the truck is running the best way that it can, and we will be doing that when we come back on Helping Hands Garage. Welcome back to Helping Hands Garage. Now, when we went to break, Manny and team were working on the 3 on the tree. Well, Manny, who has been working around this complex for years now, you finally get to tell us what's going on. What was the issue?
So they grabbed the rubber grommet and tried to fix it with the bushings, and it gave it slop, but with all the Band-Aid they tried to put on it, the rubber grommet dried up. One disintegrated completely, and then the other one just broke apart. So that was all the slop and the slack that I had, and I was always getting it stuck in the gears.
What's going to be the fix?
We're going to try to fix it with some plastic washers and recreate the grommet in there so it could be able to work properly and not get any slack.
It's already been a busy day. Welcome to day 2 of Helping Hands Garage. Now, Collette, of course, we've lifted the truck up. We've taken the exhaust out already.
Yeah, and once the exhaust got out of there, we found some stuff we weren't exactly planning for. One of them being this bushing for our drive shaft is completely shot, so there's a lot of play there. But we gotta take the drive shaft out anyway in order to take our transmission out. So we'll definitely make sure we replace those and get some new ones in there.
Well, as you mentioned, the transmission, we also came up with the steering. There's a lot of play, the linkage here too. We had that problem underneath the hood yesterday with the three on the tree and making sure everything was clear in the shifting. Turns out we need to make sure we take some time on that today as well. Well, Carissa, there's been a whole lot of work done on the truck already today. The guys are still making moves on the transmission, but for you, your family's in town. They're in the back in the dark shadows. Overnight, how did you guys sleep? What was the conversation leaving the garage yesterday?
It was just so exciting. We had so much fun yesterday, just being on the set and getting to watch sort of Dad's dream come alive. You know, he's not here to enjoy it with us. We talked about him a lot, just in how much he would have loved being here and working with everyone. And he really so desperately wanted to have one of his cars on one of these shows. He would just be giddy, and we talked about Dad a lot last night.
What's kind of the ideal scenario, you guys driving the truck away?
Oh, it'll just be so fun to just have the memories and just be able to drive around town and just show off. Yeah. Just the amazing man that my dad was.
All right, so we got our drive shaft and transmission out of there, and we did all that so we can have access to our clutch and flywheel, because we have a brand new clutch and flywheel that's gonna go on here. So that means we gotta get this rusty old one out of here. All right, so we got our old clutch and flywheel out from the truck, and even just visually, you can look at this and see how much wear and tear it has had. And over here, we have our brand new direct bolt-on clutch replacement, and we even have upgraded fork designs for better grip on this one. And this kit comes with absolutely everything that we're gonna need to get it done. We have our throwout bearing, our pilot bearing, our alignment tool, and of course, our fresh clutch. You guys ready to assemble this thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, when we come back, we'll get to the install. All right, so the ladies and I just finished installing your brand new clutch and flywheel on the truck. We just gotta throw the transmission and drive shaft back in, but we're not done underneath. We got you a new exhaust from LMC Truck. It's a dual exhaust, and it's gonna wake this thing up a bit, make it sound a lot more mean, which would be nice.
And speaking of LMC Truck, you can see the inner fender well. They have gifted us some for this truck as well. So that's really gonna make things a little bit lighter, brighter, not so rusty, if you will. And then under the hood, valve covers are worked on, the radiator was worked on, steering. And so those are all things that's gonna make things a little bit more comfortable and reliable, of course, for the truck.
Okay, we got the new clutch in there, and with the new wiring cleanup that we did, that's what we want. You know, we want it to be reliable and last you for years and generations to come.
Ah, good pickup there, Collette, because you've mentioned the generations, the kids, the family, how important this truck is to everybody in your world. What do you see as like the ideal goal for this truck in your family?
It's kind of become such an icon for my dad. We all wear the shirts, we all, see that side of the truck, and it just reminds us of Pa and all the love he put into the kids and to the truck. I would love to see the kids be able to drive it, even their kids maybe someday, be able to, just remember Pa and pass down the stories and just his legacy.
As you kind of think about the payoff, when you get the keys to this thing, you get all the kids around you, you have your neighborhood, the helping hands. What do you visualize as the way that this would be the coolest way to pay honor to your dad?
Well, he loved inviting us to car shows, going to car shows, talking to people at car shows. I mean, it really is such a family of people that come together, and that's where so many people that we know and love and are here helping us, we just love being with them. So I think having them all come over, we did like a drive with all of his cars and all of his car friends' cars for his service. And I think just doing something like that, maybe like a cruise altogether, would be really fun.
What a perfect way to honor a man in the car world than to put all of his cars together with his car friends and his family and really just pay honor to who he was to so many people. But before we do that, Collete, there's still just a few more things and details we can do before Carissa gets the keys. We mentioned how the truck likes to slide into gear on its own. So of course, the Helping Hands team fixes that shift linkage problem underneath. Then it was time to bolt on a few additional parts from LMC truck with the inner fender wells and the dual exhaust. This new exhaust is a glass pack style exhaust to give the truck more aggressive rumble when it's time to cruise. Plus, it bolts up to all of the factory locations. Speaking of cruise, let's head over to Dave's garage and see how many of his cars are ready to roll.
I love the exhaust. It sounds mean.
And the shifting is a lot smoother as well.
It's not so much of like a burden of something we have to do. It's something that's been done, and it's more helpful now because we can just get in it and drive. Yeah. Instead of having to like unplug the fan every time we got out of the car to get it to stop running, now we can just get out of the car like normal.
He would have loved this. He wanted to do this 24/7.
It's part of the bond too, because you get to learn and do those things together. And so I don't know, with that shared experience of problem solving and just working on stuff together, just really, it's a bond like nothing else. And so having all of us involved, having friends, being able to just honor Dad, so everyone getting to know just a piece of Dad, just a little bit of who he was, just the amazing man that he is, and his love of cars has just been so much fun.
You know, Collete, it's so amazing how cars can really help people get over some loss. They also can create some new memories, and I sure hope that this happens for the Grove family, that they really feel connected to their paw.
Well, even having the grandkids involved as well, they were not afraid to get their hands dirty. They went right to work, and having Dave's car buddies here to help us out made it so much easier to get a ton done.
Oh man, the joy, as Carissa kept saying, that was, and I sure hope everybody feels like they honored Pa in the right way. Felt like it here in Helping Hands Garage.